Hey guys, what's up? It's Ryan here, and I've always been interested in the kind of projects that computer science students actually work on. So today I wanted to share a little bit about my experience of the project that I worked on in my final year in a computer science degree. So this project was part of an advanced JavaScript module, and the idea was to essentially build a website that links up with an API and displays some of the information to the user. We had to use React, which is a JavaScript framework, to essentially build the website, and we had to use some different features that are available in React, different things like components, props, and things like that. But then there were a few other things that we could implement that would give us a few extra marks. So they were things like type checking with props, we had fragments, context for some state management, and also Bootstrap just to make the whole thing look a little bit nicer. Once we had all that done and implemented, the next thing we had to do was deploy the website to Firebase. So the only part of Firebase that we actually took advantage of was the hosting part, and there's lots more that we could have taken advantage of, but we didn't really need for this project specifically. But before we get to that stage at all, the first step we needed to do was create a wireframe. This is my Adobe XD project file, and there's quite a few things in here. There's a little bit on widgets that I was designing, then there's kind of the wireframe aspect, and then I implemented a little bit of the design into it, so thinking about colors. And the other part was thinking about the components that I would be using within React itself. So let's dig in and have a look. So this here is a few widgets that I had designed. So my API is a cryptocurrency API. So I was pulling information such as the price, the name of the actual cryptocurrency itself, and a little bit of information about it as well. So this was used kind of to display the top few coins, because there's so many of them that you wouldn't really want to display so many of them this big. And then below, I was just messing around with the kind of responses that I was getting back from the API to see what kind of information I could display. So this here is the home page for the website. So at the very bottom here, you can see that it displays the top 4 coins that I get back from the API, displaying simple information again, the title, description, and the price. Then I have an all coins button, which gives you this page, which is essentially just a big list of the top 100 cryptocurrencies that I get back from the API. And I just display a little bit more information about it, as you can see here. Then the next thing I need to consider once I had this kind of layout done was the React components that I was going to actually use. So you can see here, I've got one for the navigation, one here at the back for like the list of all the currencies, then one for the card, one for a button. And then the idea was I could reuse these. So you can see here, I've got a crypto list, which is seen over here as well, but the way I'm displaying the actual information changes a little bit. So the way I get the information from the API will happen within the crypto list. And then once I have this information, I can just display it differently depending on which crypto card or crypto info that I call. So this here is the color scheme that I went with for the final design. I got inspiration from this company here. It's the Atlanta Brewing Company. And I said that I really like their design, their style. It's nice and bold, kind of nice and saturated, but quite a bit of contrast, that it looks nice and kind of makes sense. And I said for the sake of this project, I was going to take the exact same colors from it. I wasn't going to change it up or do kind of my own slant to it. It was literally, I like these colors and I'm going to use the exact same for my website. So you can see here where I've implemented it, kind of a similar kind of style with the colors. And the way I've implemented it is this kind of like a dark theme, similar to what they've done here, where the background is predominantly the darker kind of blue color. So the same can be seen here. But then I kind of wanted to implement a little bit of React context into this by doing a light and a dark theme, because that kind of style is coming up quite a bit. So I wanted to have that little bit of an option for people to be able to switch between the different themes. So here is the light theme that I came up with, that is essentially the colors switched. So the main background color here is the lighter color. And the point of this project was not to have the fancy sort of signs or anything like that. It was more about React and the code behind it. And if you implemented something like Bootstrap to create a design that looked visually interesting like this, you kind of get points for that. But if you go over the top, you weren't really getting anything extra for that. Just as long as it looks somewhat visually appealing, you get some plus marks. So let's spin around into the actual final coded project. So this here is the live website itself. So it's a little bit different from the design that you previously saw. The two additions you can see on this page is the button at the top left. This is used to essentially toggle between the light and dark mode. And I also have a currency changer here that allows me to choose between 3 different currencies. The API that I get back gives me the option of lots more currencies, but because that would take a lot more time to implement, all I did was I shortened it down and said I'll do 3. And if I can implement this, it proves to my lecturer that I can implement the ability to change the currencies. I just didn't have the full amount of time to be able to add in all of them that come back from the API. So I can see here, we're going to press all coins, and that will bring us to the other page that we'd seen before that will display the top 100 coins that come back from the API. Same thing used here. This is the list component that we were talking about before. So it's the exact same currency conversion here that I can use, and I don't need to write that code twice. It's all within the same component, which makes the reusability of that component very nice. So if this was a lot bigger of a website, I could pull that component down and display it in 2 different ways depending on how I would like to. And I can also limit how many of them I would actually like to display. So if I go back to the home page, you can see here I'm limiting just to the top 4 coins, where if I click on all coins, I'm getting the top 100. The next page that I have is if we click on one of the currencies, it loads up more information about it. So as you can see here, I just pulled out the name, the logo, the description. It's similar to what we have on the home page. So if we go back to here, it's essentially looking pretty much the same, but displaying a little bit differently. I've got this links edition here, which was just adding a little bit more information. So the whole idea again was to be able to interact with the API. So making some API requests to that API, getting back a response and displaying that information somewhat in a visually appealing way. So there are the 3 simple pages that I have built for this website. The whole code is available on GitHub if you want to have a look, and I'll also leave a link to that in the description, along with a link to the Firebase project where you can view it for yourself. Just be warned, there is a little plugin for Chrome that you will need to use to be able to run the project. So yeah, that's my project. As said, all the links will be in the description below if you'd like to take a look. And if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to get back to you when I can. Cheers. Bye.